What's going on, movie lovers? Welcome to Apocaflix Movie News. Whether it's your first time or your 100th time listening, welcome and welcome back. I'm your host, Jacob Bartley, and I'm joined by Gio Ramos. It's been a while, man.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? DC is on the rise. Oh, yeah.
I hope so.
Well, maybe. We'll see.
For those of you who don't know, this is our movie news podcast where we talk about, break down, give our thoughts on some of the biggest movie news stories throughout the week. But Gio, it's been a while. How you been? What have you been watching lately, man?
I've been good, man. I've been checking out some movies in theaters. Fist Fight, another funny comedy from Ice Cube. You know, whenever he's in these R-rated comedies.
Recommend it?
For
$6
for fans of Ice Cube, yes, and Charlie Day. But if you're looking for like a Jump Street kind of, you know, like high quality comedy,
I wouldn't expect so.
No.
So $6 Tuesday, where they serve alcohol.
Yes.
Anything else?
You know, I've been doing some TV shows. Legion.
Nice.
XMen.
I need to check it out.
Check it out, buddy.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Have you ever seen Clueless?
Long time ago.
Yeah,
It's a classic, man.
I had to watch it for my novel to film adaptation class.
For real?
We read the book Emma by Jane Austen. Then we had to watch the movie Emma starring Gwyneth Paltrow first. Actually, a really good movie, and it's really funny. And then we had to watch. You know, Clueless is based on that novel.
I didn't know.
Clueless is adapted from the Jane Austen novel Emma.
Wow.
And so it's like a modern retelling of it. Clueless is great. It's a great movie. I liked both of them so much, I went and bought both movies. And I'm also, my new crush is 1990s Alicia Silverstone. She is
Batgirl.
very attractive. All right, well, let's get into our movie news topics for the day. So to celebrate the beginning of production on a highly anticipated Han Solo spinoff, Lucasfilm through StarWars.com gave us giddy fans a first look at the main cast of the new Star Wars story. The image features Alden Ehrenreich, Woody Harrelson, Emilia Clarke, Donald Glover, and Chewbacca, alongside directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller, inside the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. As well as the image, StarWars.com included an unrevealing synopsis for the spinoff. Quote, the movie will explore Han and Chewie's adventures before the events of Star Wars A New Hope, including their early encounters with that other card-playing rogue from the galaxy far, far away, Lando Calrissian. Gio, does this image change any doubts you may have had for the Han Solo spinoff film?
Absolutely not, because I didn't have any doubts to begin
Exactly.
with.
Why would you, with Phil Lord and Chris Miller?
Phil Lord, Chris Miller, and then like throughout the last couple of months, we've seen these actors, their names drop on one by one. But to see them in a picture together, it's just, it gets you excited. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, there's just so much talent here. You know, you have Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones. You have young and up-and-coming actors, Alden Ehrenreich and Donald Glover. And then you have a guy like Woody Harrelson, who's been around for decades. And every time he's in a movie, he's always great. Like, all around, it's a great cast. And then all of them in the Millennium Falcon together, smiling, you know, together. They're ready to begin production if they haven't already started, and they're just excited. And you know, they're not just actors in the photo; they're Star Wars fans, and it's just it's so great to see, and it gets me excited.
Yeah, I talked about this on my news bit on the YouTube channel, and what can I say? It gets me excited. It doesn't really change like how much I'm looking forward to the film, but it just reminds me, yes, this film's real, it's coming. I won't get too much into it, but the one thing I will take away is Ehrenreich looks like a young Han Solo. The swagger is there. And I think he's going to do pretty well on there. And I love that we don't really know him that well. We've seen him, some people have seen him in Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar, where he broke out, yeah.
So, very optimistic about the young Han Solo spinoff film. All right, and what may be considered the WTF moment of the week, The Hollywood Reporter has revealed that Warner Bros. Is developing another new DC property, Nightwing. On top of that, THR included that Chris McKay, director of the Lego Batman movie, is attached to direct the spin-off focusing on Batman's former sidekick. No other details are known at this time, but one can think with this timing, the character of Dick Grayson could play into the Batman, which now officially has Matt Reeves as its director. Gio, how surprised are you that WB and DC have announced a Nightwing movie at this time?
I'm very surprised. Now, Jacob, you know how much of a lover and supporter I am of the DCEU, through the good and bad. But to hear a movie like this, it definitely raises some questions, because it's like, well, wait, we haven't gotten a Batman solo movie yet. We haven't gotten even a Man of Steel 2 yet. And now we're getting a side character, albeit a side character who's grown into his own, from Dick Grayson first being Robin to later on taking on Nightwing. So he's definitely an interesting character, but within the DCEU, where this fits in, it raises more questions than builds more hype, and it makes me want to like forget as a fan the initial DC slate that was announced, with the Cyborg coming and Flash. Because now we're getting more stories, films that take place within Gotham. You got the Gotham City Sirens.
That's very true.
You got now Nightwing. You got the Batman. And who knows where Suicide Squad 2 will take place. But it seems like they're pushing back all these other properties. The Flash. We know Aquaman's coming, and they're putting forth everything in the Batman universe, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all, but it makes me wonder like where this is gonna fit in, and also begs the question: will Nightwing make his debut in the Batman movie? I mean, you announced this movie after you confirmed that Matt Reeves is the director for the Batman. I think it's possible, but we'll see.
Yeah, I honestly did not know about this until I read it in the notes.
Really?
I didn't know.
Oh, wow.
Well, I've been staying off of the internet lately because
some big movies are coming out.
March is going to be a big month, and I don't like hearing early buzz or reviews or word of mouth about films that I'm very much looking forward to and that mean a lot to me. Logan, Beauty and the Beast, and Power Rangers are all three, even Kong Skull Island, all four were in my top 10 most anticipated of the year. All four.
March is a big month, yeah.
So I don't want to be spoiled with how good these movies are. I don't want my expectations heightened or lowered, so I've been staying off the web. Anyways, initially, just the idea, let's just say, like, no drama with DC. We only knew that Wonder Woman, Justice League, and the Batman were coming out. Nothing else. They never announced the slate. And then they just announced, we're doing a Nightwing movie. I am so excited because Robin is hard to do in live action.
Oh, he did. That's why
I'm just saying, whoever it is, if it's Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Damian Wayne, just the idea of Robin is kind of goofy. But Nightwing is awesome, and that suit, that the black spandex with the light blue on the chest, awesome costume. A costume that is one of the rare ones where, like, if you can adapt it from the comic directly to the big screen and it works. I love the character of Dick Grayson and the idea of Nightwing.
Yes.
And I think a movie could work because we've seen so many Batman films, and it's interesting to explore somebody who grew up under Batman. What type of man does that person become? What does he end up doing with his life? And that's very interesting. But at the same time, I don't get one drop of excitement because DC is all over the place. They keep announcing all these films. I don't believe Gotham City Sirens is coming out. I don't believe Nightwing is coming out. I don't believe Cyborg is coming out. I don't believe The Flash is coming out.
Yeah.
The only movies I know for sure are coming out are Wonder Woman, Justice League, and I'm half and half on the Batman. I mean, now that Matt Reeves is on for sure, the Batman is probably coming out. And Aquaman.
Yes.
I'm not saying that these movies aren't coming out, but who knows when?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So, like, I can never believe anything that comes out of DC, and I love DC, the characters, the properties, the comics, the cartoons, most of the films that have come out throughout the years, but I'm just fed up with this. I can't get excited about anything they announce.
I'll say this again. It's going to be a very big year for DC.
One thing that catches my eye is, is it Chris McKay? Mm-hmm. Chris McKay is perfect to direct this movie. If you've seen the Lego Batman movie, he knows the lore of Batman. Yes. He knows Dick Grayson. He knows Robin. He knows Nightwing. Mm-hmm. So with him directing, absolutely. If they are making this movie, he is my number one choice.
Okay, wow.
I think he could direct a Batman film, honestly, like a live action one.
Well, the only thing that pauses me is I haven't really seen him do any live action. I know he's had some experience doing some commercials and maybe a short film. So, but I mean, look.
Well, Nightwing is going to be a smaller film. Mm-hmm. It's going to be like how can I explain it? I don't even know. Like maybe even like a Deadpool type scenario where the budget's small, it's small scope. He's not saving the world. It's just him in one story, one scenario.
Do you think we'll see Batman in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
A cameo, like Suicide Squad.
Okay.
In a way.
I like how they're throwing in Batman everywhere. That's
I mean,
pretty,
he
that's
is
pretty neat.
he's Iron Man. What Iron Man is to the MCU right now, Batman is that to
And I love
the
it.
DCE.
Yeah.
All right, so after the mediocre response to X-Men Apocaflix this past year and the unfortunate news that Bryan Singer, the longtime X-Men director, would not be returning to the franchise as of now, Fox's comic book franchise was in a bit of a flux. Would it continue past Apocaflix? Months have gone by with no answer, but this week brought the news we've been waiting for. With rumors and speculation floating around the web everywhere, Collider let it be known that Simon Kinberg, who has been dubbed the X-Men Universe Guru, is not only looking to direct the Apocaflix sequel, but that Fox is in fact interested as well. Now, nothing is official just yet, but with Sophie Turner's recent comments and now this, it seems the X-Men movie was a bit farther along than we realized. So, and by the way, this is a movie, it's not official, but I think it's rumored to be called X-Men Supernova.
That's the working rumor title.
And isn't that in reference to the Phoenix?
The Dark Phoenix storyline, which was heavily teased in Apocaflix.
Yes, definitely. I would love to see a Dark Phoenix movie with Sophie Turner.
She's great.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm excited that they're continuing with It's rumored that they're going to continue with this X-Men franchise. Why? You just brought this great young cast into this movie. They were the best part of X-Men Apocaflix, and then there are rumors that they're going to reboot. They're not going to reboot. Don't believe that for one bit. They're going to continue this. They're going to continue with that young X-Men cast, and if they can, they're going to keep McAvoy and Fassbender on as Professor X and Xavier. They can play those characters for 20 more years.
Yeah, and Ty Sheridan, real quick, he just said recently that, well, not recently, during when Apocaflix came, signed a multi-picture deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they all
probably did.
But I don't think Fassbender and McAvoy are signed up right now. I can live without seeing Mystique for a long time.
Yeah, I'm tired of it. Get her out.
My only question is Kinberg directing. All right, here's the positive side of this is he's been involved in this universe for a long time.
Since The Last Stand.
I guarantee you he spent a lot of time on set with both, who directs First Class?
Matthew Vaughn.
I bet you he was on set with Matthew Vaughn. I bet you he's been on set with Bryan Singer.
Yes.
One of the main things people that haven't directed yet do to prepare for directing, they spend time on set. They watch other directors direct. They learn on set. So I believe he's gotten that experience. But I would love to see him direct a smaller film first and then direct this. But I'm not going to be completely upset if he directs this. He knows this stuff. He's been writing these last 3 or 4 movies. So I'm optimistic about this universe. I never believed for one second that they were going to scratch it and reboot or whatever, or soft reboot, because they're keeping Deadpool. So like it would be a soft reboot in a way. They're not getting rid of these actors, these characters. They're continuing, and that's what gets me excited. Kinberg I'm questionable about, but I would still be okay with him directing.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's been involved in the universe, going back to X-Men The Last Stand. He's had a couple misses as a producer and as a writer, but a couple hits as well. Like he did write Days of Future Past, and that movie
arguably the best X-Men movie.
Yeah. This tells me that 20th Century Fox has he's earned their trust, and he has a vision and an understanding for these characters, and where he wants to take him has gained the trust of Fox. Now, he hasn't directed anything, but he's been involved in a lot of action projects. He was involved with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He wrote that movie, and I think he did a script doctor thing on Edge of Tomorrow. Although, don't quote me on that.
And don't forget, he is basically the creator, and he's heavily involved in Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah. And also, almost the Boba Fett movie that was scrapped. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I can be excited because he's an unproven director. We're talking about not just any X-Men story. We're talking about the Dark Phoenix.
It's a big movie.
Yeah, X-Men: The Last Stand botched it. The Dark Phoenix thing badly. They're going to try it again. Maybe it's a little too soon. I don't know. Like, this is only the second movie we're seeing the young cast in. But the way X-Men Apocalypse ended with, spoiler, Jean Grey, Sophie Turner unleashing her Dark Phoenix powers, it made sense, and I liked it. You know, that was the one thing that could kill Apocalypse. Well, we don't know. Like, disintegrated him, who knows? But we'll see, man. We'll wait and see. I like that we're not hearing as much from this movie like we are other movies.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
I like.
It's further in development.
Keep it down with all. Don't let everything get out about every single movie.
I don't want to rant, but man, like, let these guys create something first.
Exactly.
And all these movie sites, stop reporting on every little thing just because you heard from your buddies that so and so may be doing this. Just let these guys create. I love that this project is further along in development. Like, let's keep it that way.
All right, bold prediction. In Deadpool 2, Cable goes to the future and grabs Laura Kinney, aka X-23, brings her to the time era of X-Men Supernova. She fights with the X-Men in the Dark Phoenix saga. Boom.
That's definitely
it's possible.
That's definitely possible.
It's very possible. Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to a different superhero property. With the main X-Men movies on a bit of a hold at the moment, could Fox be looking towards turning their mutant universe into an R-rated party? Deadpool was crushing it this time last year, and Logan, by the trailers and early word of mouth, sounds like it'll be the Wolverine movie we've always wanted. Other than a sequel to Deadpool, what other plans does Fox have? According to Collider, X-Force could very well be it. The project has been speculated for a long time, and it now seems like it's finally moving forward, with Joe Carnahan has been brought on board to write the script as well as possibly direct. With Cable and Domino set to appear in Deadpool 2, it looks like the R-rated team of mutants could possibly be on deck for Fox. Speaking of Deadpool 2 and Cable,
right.
Well, we kind of already knew and speculated that X-Force movie was coming with
Yes.
Deadpool and with Cable coming in. It's just kind of cool. See, this is information that's not... We want to know this. Like, we were just talking about don't announce everything.
Yeah.
This is cool to know that they're working on it. Joe Carnahan's writing might direct.
Yeah.
That's all I want to know. And then that's good. And now I can know that this movie might be coming and look forward to it. And this excites me, honestly.
You just reminded me of this doesn't have anything to do with it, sort of, but when Ben Affleck was on Jimmy Kimmel, and he's looking at the audience and he's like, "Relax, I'm working on it. Stop asking me." I don't know. I thought that was funny. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, dude, I love that X-Force movie is coming. You know, the Fox, they've been, you know, hitting it out of the park with their R-rated stuff. You know, Deadpool. We've heard great things about Logan, even if I'm sorry, Jacob, but we've all heard great things.
I haven't.
Okay, but X-Force now, and the fact that you're gonna have Deadpool, Domino, Cable, you know, like those characters, depending on how they're received in Deadpool 2, I think determines how fast this project is going to be developed. Joe Carnahan, busy guy right now. Bad Boys 3, the Uncharted movie, which he currently completed
And
the
he's
latest
tied
draft.
to the Raid
He's
American
tied
adaptation.
to the Raid. Yeah, exactly. So this guy's busy. There's no telling how far along this X-Force movie is, but the fact that it's coming gets me excited. And we'll see. Joe Carnahan, I've seen some of his work. I think he's improved as a filmmaker. Smokin' Aces had its moments of fun, shoot 'em up, badassery. I thought the A-Team was an even more improved step than Smokin' Aces, but I haven't seen The Gray yet. But I've heard that it's his best directed film. So we'll see.
Yeah, a lot of people like The Gray. So after X-23 defeats Dark Phoenix in Supernova, Cable's gonna go back and grab her and bring her into X-Force.
Wow. He's just taking her. Poor girl.
Yeah,
he's just taking her everywhere.
Well, they need her because Wolverine, is probably going to be gone, and they need someone who can, regenerate, All right, on top of getting our first look at the cast of the Han Solo spinoff, this week also brought our first look at the cast of Shane Black's The Predator. Trying to rejuvenate a classic action franchise, Black has assembled a strong and quite diverse cast that includes Boyd Holbrook, Olivia Munn, Keegan-Michael Key, Sterling K. Brown, Moonlight Breakout, Trevante Rhodes, and the adorable yet talented Jacob Tremblay, who has a great first name. No synopsis for the sequel has been released, but keep an eye out for updates as the movie just started filming. The Predator is set to hit theaters on February 9th, 2018. Gio, does this photo get you excited?
Yeah, another great photo. I mean, granted, they're not standing in the jungle, you know, with, you know, guns and everything, but, you know, it's great to see the cast is assembled. This movie is happening. Shane Black's been talking about it for a long time. And the cast he's assembled is pretty good. Now, I've yet to see Boyd Holbrook from Logan. Obviously, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I have a good feeling about him. And what's his name? Trevante Rhodes from Moonlight.
He was great in
that guy was incredible, man.
You know what real quick, just off top, you know what he did in that movie, which was great? Kind of, not, this isn't spoilers really. So, you see the young boy in the beginning of the movie and the teenage boy and how they're very, like, closed mouth, like soft spoken, like very shy
to themselves. Yeah,
he brought those same mannerisms to an adult version of them. He played those characters, the younger versions of that character, so well later in the film. It was great. So anyways, that's why I'm excited for him to be in this movie, because it showed he's a great actor.
Yeah,
ties into this.
Yeah, and the supporting cast. I mean, you have Keegan-Michael Key, who is a fun actor. You know, it's fun to see him on screen.
Oh, you've seen Why Him, right?
Yeah. He's in that, and he was also in Tomorrowland for a bit. And also Sterling.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Sterling K. Brown from the Crime Story OJ on FX series. So all around, a great cast. And Jacob Tremblay. I mean, what? I'm sure you'll talk about him. He was fantastic in The Room. Not The Room.
What? He was in The Room,
right? And I like that it's R-rated. This Predator movie is going to be R-rated.
Should be.
So, he's going to kill some people. Hopefully not Jacob. Well, I don't know. We'll see, maybe. But, Jacob, what do you think, man?
I mean, I'm not over the moon excited for this picture, but it looks cool. I'm glad this is a great cast. And what it did for me is I knew the name Boyd Holbrook was attached to this, but I didn't realize who he was. I didn't realize he was the guy in Logan, and he's in the Narcos, the TV show. He's great in that show, and I'm excited for that. And like the guy Trevante Rhodes, great. I didn't know he was in this movie. I knew Jacob Tremblay was, but I'm excited to see this cast on screen together. And you got diversity not only in like racial terms, but as far as type of actors. You have Olivia Munn, who is going to bring. She's actually has a comedic side to her that works, and
she's eye candy too.
Exactly. And then you have Keegan-Michael Key, who's not. I don't think he necessarily is going to be the outrageous, funny guy.
He's going to be the comedic relief.
I'm saying he might not be, though. You never know. Like they could make somebody else the comedic relief and have him play a serious role. Something that I think.
What if it's Jacob Tremblay?
Is possible for like a Danny McBride in Alien, Alien Covenant too. Maybe they will be the comedic relief, but we'll see a more serious side to them in these movies. All right, so one of the bigger news stories from a few years ago is when James Bond himself, Daniel Craig, publicly said that he would rather slit his wrist to play the character of 007 again in a new movie. What a few years make. According to his Skyfall Inspector co-star and Moonlight star Naomi Harris, we shouldn't shut the door on that just yet. I really don't think that the studio, moved on from Daniel. I think there's a good chance that Daniel will come back. It's also worth noting that back in October, Craig said he's still interested in playing the character, quote, as long as I still get a kick out of it, end quote. No announcements have been made for a new James Bond film. I'm kind of getting tired of hearing about this, honestly. Like, on one side, it upsets me. It's like you are like complaining so much about getting paid millions of dollars to play a character that everyone loves, and that's fine. If you don't want to play him, just don't play him. Just reject the studio. Don't go out of your way to say I'd rather slit my wrist than play. But that was a long time ago, and he did say if I still get a kick out of it, and that's fine. That's fair. As long as you still enjoy it, do it. If not, just don't do it. Just keep your mouth shut. I do believe everybody wants him back. Look at how much money those movies have made. And personally, bring in a new director, add a new flavor to it, and I'm all for a Daniel Craig James Bond. Now, granted, I haven't seen every James Bond iteration, but he is my favorite James Bond. I think he's the best James Bond. Casino Royale is not only one of the best James Bond films ever made, it's one of the best spy action movies ever made, in my opinion. It's one of my favorites. So I would love to see him back, but I want a new taste. It was Sam Mendes, right, who directed Skyfall and Spectre.
Yes.
I love Skyfall. Spectre was just a disappointment. It wasn't a bad film. It's just a disappointment.
Yeah.
Considering you had Christoph Waltz, it's not a bad movie in my opinion. It's just not great. So just bring in a new director and let's add some new flavor.
Spectre was Daniel Craig's worst performance as James Bond.
Oh, for sure.
Say what you will about Quantum of Solace, but he still in that movie he still seemed invested. He did not seem invested in Skyfall. He looked like he was just walking around, hand in his pocket, just he was more Daniel Craig than he was James Bond, the James Bond that he established in previous films. I'm not waiting to see whether he comes back or not because I'm neither excited nor, disappointed if he will or will not. I'm ready for a new James Bond, but if he wants to come back and leave on a high note, that's great. He certainly deserved it, with Skyfall and Casino Royale. But it might be time to change it. To get someone else new in, to get into some fresh ideas, but who knows? We'll wait and see. This is one of the biggest franchises of all time. They're definitely not going to let it sit on the shelf. I'm sure they're having discussions right now behind closed doors about where they want to take the character. We haven't even heard
anything about the rights. The rights were supposed to expire for Sony.
I think they re-upped.
Did they retain them?
I think they re-upped, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they...
Yeah, because... it was supposed to expire, and then we didn't hear anything about it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm assuming if someone else got the rights, we would have heard about it.
So we'll see. I already have an idea of what I want the next James Bond to be, and I want Idris Elba to play it before he gets old. But we'll see. I don't know, man. Time will tell. Daniel Craig, if you want to do it, go ahead.
I've never really wanted Idris Elba to play James Bond.
Really?
I just don't want to... He's around the same age as Daniel Craig. I think we need a really young James Bond. Like, what the hell did James Bond do before he was, like, the master super spy? Like, I'm not saying I want an origin story. I just want a mission when he was younger. Like, how about John Boyega as a young James Bond?
That'd be great.
Or how about you tell a story where Idris Elba is James Bond and then John Boyega, he's telling you about... an old mission that he had to go on, and John Boyega plays a younger version, and then it correlates. It's two stories at once, and it correlates something different.
That could be interesting.
Yeah. So I already talked about this. So
yeah,
let's move on. All right, talking about a comic book property that we have not talked about today. While early word of mouth points towards Logan being a near perfect send-off for Hugh Jackman and his Wolverine, don't forget it's the same for Patrick Stewart and Professor X. Stewart has claimed multiple times over the past few years that Logan will be his final time as the Professor, and yesterday that became official. While making the rounds for Logan's press tour, Stewart announced his retirement from the X-Men universe, saying he's done with the character. Stewart has been there from the beginning, appearing in 7 different X-Men movies, bringing something irreplaceable to the character of Charles Xavier every time he was on screen. Farewell, Professor, you will be missed. Gio, with less than a week away until seeing Stewart's final time as Charles Xavier, what kind of impact did he have on this universe?
He brought a level of like foundation with his presence. He as Professor X, it was fan casting, and then he became Professor X in the first X-Men movie,
and he was already part of geek culture with playing the Star Trek Picard, Captain Picard. Yeah.
But as Professor X, he was really as a kid watching the first X-Men movie, he was kind of like I told you, kind of like a father. You know how he was a father to Logan.
Exactly,
he
father
felt
figure,
like a father figure to all of us, as kids, guiding us,
One of the images that always pops in my head whenever I think of Patrick Stewart as Professor X is the very first movie when he rolls up to Magneto and he's like, "Hello, old friend." Like just that scene always pops into my head.
Screen.
How great are they?
Yes,
those first 2 movies.
This is Magneto. This is Professor X. So his impact. Come on. If you've seen the X-Men movies, you know what his impact is, and it's just gonna make this movie even more sadder. I'm now 65% convinced that I'm gonna shed a tear in this movie.
I think so.
I'm pretty
for
sure.
myself, at least.
You know, I was just thinking about how we usually get something to eat before we watch the movies. I'm gonna be sitting there in the restaurant, quiet, just like this. Guys, this is gonna be a sad movie. It's gonna be fun, but this is gonna be a sad movie at the same time. So it's gonna be great seeing him on screen one last time. I'm gonna cherish this movie even more now while I'm in the theater for those 2 hours, and I have a good feeling it's gonna be a great send off. We'll see.
Yeah, what can I say, man? Like, comic book movies have been like part of who I am, and the very first one that held a special place in my heart is 2000's X-Men.
Yes,
that's the very first one. I believe it doesn't get enough credit for starting this renaissance of comic book films.
Yes.
Like, I don't think without those first 2 X-Men movies and the first 2 Spider-Man movies, I don't think we lead up to Avengers, honestly. Like, the landscape would have been different without the success of those films.
Yes.
And who is one of, the foundations of that film is Professor X. And, Patrick Stewart playing him, and he did such a great job, and Ian McKellen deserves just as much credit, but who knows, we might see him again. He never said he's done with the character. Right. So it's going to be sad, but it's also a celebration.
Yes.
It's like, thank you so much. You've played the character for 17 years. Thank you. And it's like, he's getting older. I understand. Like, Hugh Jackman could still play Wolverine. You have the tool where in the comics right now, Logan is not Wolverine, he's Logan, and he's aging.
Yes.
He's slowly aging. Bring that tool into the X-Men universe. Just say his healing powers have slowed down. He's slowly aging, slower than the normal human being, but slowly aging, and you can have him gray hair, a little bit out of shape.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman doesn't have to work out as hard. He can stay in the franchise, and I think that's a possibility they could take for sure, especially after Logan, because I know Hugh Jackman is probably very satisfied with the film.
As far as actors who portrayed comic book characters, at the very, very top, you have Christopher Reeves, you have Hugh Jackman, you have Robert Downey Jr., you have Patrick Stewart.
And Ian McKellen.
Yeah. Correct. It's great, dude.
Yeah, and I think when it's all said and done, Chris Evans will be up there too, honestly.
I think so.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to be human torture? Captain America.
I don't know. That's debatable.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our Take One, Leave One segment, where we only have one topic today. But this is the segment where we take 2 things, relate them to each other, decide which one we take, which one we leave. Doesn't mean you hate or love both. You can like one, hate one. You can love both, but you have to choose one. So our one and only matchup today includes 2 fresh official trailers from this week. First up is Netflix The Discovery. Starring Jason Segel and Rooney Mara, The Discovery tells a love story 1 year after the existence of the afterlife has been scientifically verified. It also stars Riley Keough, Jesse Plemons, Robert Redford, and is released on March 31st, 2017. The trailer it's going up against is for Guy Ritchie's new movie, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, which follows Charlie Hunnam's Arthur as he comes up the hard way through the back alleys of the city. But once he pulls the sword from the stone, he is forced to acknowledge his true legacy, whether he likes it or not. Legend of the Sword also stars Jude Law, Jimon Hansu, Annabelle Wallace, Eric Bana, and smashes its way into theaters on May 12th, 2017. Gio, which one are you taking? Which one are you taking?
This is tough. Man, I'm such a big fan of Netflix and what they've been doing with their original films
and shows.
Imperial Dreams.
I haven't watched it yet. Have you?
No, it's on Netflix right now. It's on my queue.
I'm gonna watch it soon.
Do you know how much I love Beasts of No Nation? That movie is incredible.
It was one of your favorites that year.
And now you have the film like The Discovery, which is such an original idea. Like, what if the afterlife really did exist? And we've seen it in some movies in the past, but the way it's being done here, oh my god! You have Robert Redford, who is just a great, actor for a long time, and he's playing the doctor, the scientist who's proven that. And the trailer has such a dramatic build-up, It's just because it's a serious thing. It's a question that we ask in real life. And then you have Guy Ritchie, who, what he did with the Sherlock Holmes franchise, especially that first movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. He took his style and made Sherlock Holmes even more of a badass, and what he's doing with King Arthur, the effects and how gritty it is. You have Charlie Hunnam, who he's a rough around the edges actor, and just it's so tough choosing. I'm gonna go with the Discovery on Netflix because I'm a little more fascinated about that. It's fresh, it's new. Jason Segel, comedic actors, they've proven to be a force in dramatic roles. Look at Steve Carell with The Big Short. It's a proven thing. I'm excited to see what Jason Segel brings to this movie, to see Robert Redford, and just because I have so much confidence in Netflix and what they're doing with the original films that I'm looking forward. I'm gonna take the Discovery, and it's tough.
This is one of the hardest ones we've ever done.
Yes.
Both trailers are great. And this is the best piece of marketing I've seen from King Arthur Legend of the Sword. I'm rooting for, I know I questioned whether it's a sword or sandal movie, but for lack of a better term, I'm going to call it that. I'm rooting for another sword and sandal movie. Like, I love Troy. And Eric Bana is in that and in this too. Apparently he fits in that setting. Troy is one of my... I know it's not the greatest movie, but I don't even want to call it a guilty pleasure because it's not a bad film. I love that movie, and so I'm rooting for these type of films, and this looks great, and I'm a huge Charlie Hunnam fan. Sons of Anarchy is brilliant. I love that show. So I'm looking forward to that, but I have to take... what's it called? The Discovery, yes. This concept is so creepy. I love this idea. How fascinating is the idea of the afterlife and dealing with what happens after you pass. This is an amazing idea, and it makes me think like Netflix is doing something brilliant. Like, this should be a freaking... To me, this looks like an Oscar contending movie. Like, so what Netflix should do is release their films on Netflix, but have like a 1 week theatrical run in LA and New York, so it qualifies for the Oscars. Because this is the type of movie what it looks like for me. Jason Segel, I've been a big Jason Segel fan ever since freaking Freaks and Geeks, and How I Met Your Mother is my favorite sitcom of all time, and
Forgetting
Sarah Marshall, and he's in Knocked Up. Huge Jason Segel fan.
I love you,
so
man.
I'm excited to see him in a more dramatic role, something more serious, and I think he can handle this. So I'm definitely taking Discovery, but after that trailer, I am very excited for King Arthur Legend of the Sword. That was a great trailer. Alright, well, that's going to wrap up Apocaflix movie news for this week. Had a long one, but I had to get the most I can out of Gio. He hasn't been on in a while. Thanks for joining me, by the way. Let me know where they can find you online.
Thank you. You guys can find me on Twitter at GioRamos24, and check out apocaflixmovies.com. I have some spoiler reviews written up for John Wick 2, Hidden Figures, a really, really good movie in the theaters, one that surprised me. And Fist Fight as well. I have some editorials written up. Should Thanos gather the MCU villains who've been missing for a long time, like Red Skull and
Abomination?
The Abomination? Will there be a Logan post-credits scene? I think there will. I got some predictions about that. So definitely check it out on Apocaflix with an X movies.com.
It's going to be X-23 putting on the Wolverine suit,
right?
The yellow one. If you haven't seen her in the comics wearing that yellow suit, she looks awesome. I think it could work on screen.
We'll see.
And I'm Jacob Bartley, the host. You can find me on Twitter at @JacobBartley_ on this YouTube channel. Go to our YouTube channel, check out. We got tons of stuff. Movie reviews, the Padawan podcast, Apocaflix news bits, a lot of Star Wars stuff, canon connections, Padawan anthologies where we just talked about little side things going on in the Star Wars universe. Check it all out. And please always subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, take care.